Well, I think for Asian markets, they are at a tug of war. On the one hand, growth is actually fairly strong. The reopening would actually bolster Asian markets higher, especially going into 2022. But of course, you have concerns over inflation, especially in developed markets, that might actually trigger volatility in Asian markets. So I think it's this tug of war that perhaps will create some range-bound markets, at least for the short term. But I think looking into 2022, there are certain growth markets, particularly in Southeast Asia, whereby the reopening is going to be much stronger. And therefore, there could be a case that there could be some outperformance and selectivity in Asian markets going into 2022.
Right, you talk about markets being range bound. A lot of people that we chat to each and every day here are putting that down to the weakening growth that we're seeing in China. Would you agree with that? And what's your outlook for the Chinese economy and Chinese markets as well?
Well, when you look at the Chinese data, the growth momentum is actually clearly slowing down. The Q3 GDP data has slowed. And of course, if you look at higher frequency industrial production, etc., those also are showing that economic momentum is losing steam. But of course, you would expect policymakers to have at least a targeted easing to provide some support. But going into 2022, there will still be positive growth, but nevertheless, that very strong V-shaped recovery is probably behind us. And of course, there's going to be much more rebalancing of growth drivers from the manufacturing industrial into consumption and discretionary consumption. And I think that's going to be a trend, not just in China, but across a large part of Asia.